We fell for this trap and now it's too late to turn back, at least for some Americans who overextended themselves. Our country's economy continues to spiral downwards as layoffs in multiple different markets and sectors grow. We've seen it in tech, in fast food, with retailers, even with logistics companies. Now, the truth of the matter is that many businesses, they're going down a very slippery slope. And it doesn't matter if you're Google, Amazon, Apple, McDonald's, even UPS. Chances are all of these companies and then some are looking to cut some weight in order to keep their profits up for 2024. But what's the trap that I'm talking about here? For some experts, the trap is the optimism that things are going well when they clearly aren't.
People are feeling what the economy is doing. And we have to remember, this didn't happen by accident. What we're seeing with the trends, the economic trends, it's because of what this president has done.
On my watch, instead of Infrastructure Week, America is having an infrastructure decade. 37 major projects across America, including bridges, highways, ports, airports.
The Biden administration has put in place the most extensive set of policies and investments to benefit the middle class that our country has seen in my lifetime.
14 million jobs created. Last year, 2.7 million jobs created. Unemployment under 4%. Wages are up. That matters.
Now, what do you guys think of that? Some say that the White House is absolutely spot on with their outlook, while others are incredibly pessimistic about it. The same people that think that this is all based on half-truths and whole lies, they're the same people that focus on the labor market. 2023 saw a surge in layoffs in different areas of the economy, which has some experts predicting that 2024 is probably going to be even worse. I mean, look at this, guys. So last summer, UPS, the logistics company, they were praised by President Joe Biden for a union deal that would probably end up boosting pay immensely. And of course, that's something that workers are striving for, right? There's a small problem with that scenario. You see, just months after the deal got approved, UPS also announced that they're cutting 12,000 positions. That's 14% of its 85,000 management jobs. Carol Toomey, the company's CEO, she said that the job reductions were due to demand sliding and union labor costs going up. She calculated that this move would save the company at least $1 billion just for 2024.
Well, thousands of jobs will soon be gone at UPS. The Atlanta-based company announced today it is cutting 12,000 jobs worldwide, and this move comes just a few months after workers negotiated a new labor deal to avert chaos in the shipping industry.
UPS sent 11 Alive this statement saying dynamic external and economic conditions led to lower volume and a more than $9 billion decline in revenue year over year. The layoffs, which do not affect union employees on the ground, will save the company about $1 billion, according to the CEO. The layoffs will happen over the next several months.
What many experts find peculiar with this particular situation is that they even went as far as to say that these positions that they were cutting, they're jobs that will never come back. Now, off the top of my head, I'm guessing that this is probably because of maybe AI, but don't quote me on that. Just an educated guess. They've also ordered all of their employees who are currently working remotely to now report to the office 5 days a week. I told you it was coming. Kind of like what they were used to doing before the health crisis. Now, think about this for a second. This isn't a tech company. This is a logistics company. They ship goods and orders, right? So if the demand for shipping is down, then that means that less and less people are buying stuff. And of course, you also have to note that we're very early in the 2024, but we've already heard from companies like UPS, Google, Meta, Goldman Sachs, Nike, and Citigroup announcing layoffs for the year. And remember when I took a guess that some jobs are going to be taken by AI for this year? Well, I just found out that a survey of 900 leaders at different organizations showed that 4 out of 10 of them admitted that they will be replacing human workers for artificial intelligence. However, none of these numbers can explain the fact that consumer sentiment was high for the fourth quarter for 2023. But if you dug a little bit deeper into the numbers, then you would quickly find out that this sentiment was shared mostly with those who have more money. That's a huge difference, especially as these people typically don't really care as much about inflation or the price of goods, seeing as they're basically the same people who don't necessarily see a problem if costs go up. Meanwhile, you got normal people racking up credit card debt like nobody's business. Check this out. So in just a single month, Americans racked up $19 billion in credit card debt. Can you believe that?
Americans are charging their credit cards more than ever before.
We put everything that we can on a credit card.
But for the first time, a new report shows credit card debt has reached more than $1 trillion, the highest ever.
I am not comfortable saying this is no big deal. It's a really big deal.
Associate Professor of Economics Victor Clark says consumer confidence, rising interest rates, and inflation is to blame for booming credit card debt.
It's been hard. I mean, I have to stop using one credit card at one bank to use another one because I can't pay for the other one. So I had to stop using them at all altogether and just use cash.
Walter Barnes says he's had to cut up his credit card so he doesn't spend it every time he puts money back on it.
Avoid incurring the charges in the first place. There's no way to get in trouble paying your credit card bill if you don't have a credit card bill in the first place.
Clark suggests only using credit cards for emergencies, unless you have the money and you know how to budget.
I use mine a lot for monthly bills and for traveling and things, and it's just for convenience. It's easier just to use the credit card, and then when the bill comes in, just pay it off.
But not everyone is doing that. Late payments have also risen. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York reported in the second quarter, 7.2% of credit card accounts were 30 days overdue, the highest level in 11 years.
And it's not just credit cards. There's also mortgages, home equity, revolving debt, auto loans, student loans, and other consumer lending debt such as retail cards. These are all hitting record highs, meaning that we've never been in such a position before. What's more is we're also seeing delinquencies rise and banks tightening credit, which means that there are going to be some households that will probably be completely tapped out in 2024. These numbers are all being confirmed by Wells Fargo, and they're saying that the increased reliance on credit cards is showing the vulnerabilities with the economy and consumers alike. This kind of reminds me of a story of a guy who's at 100 years old and said that even though he's never made more than $40,000 annually, he still has $1 million in savings. Isn't that amazing? Now, there's a lot of things that did go right for him, right? But there are some things that he did that you and I can learn from. He lived in a completely different time compared to ours. I mean, he retired at 65, but he kept things pretty simple. He said that luxury wasn't cars or boats. For him, it was vodka or whiskey cocktails several times a week, but rarely more than just one glass a day. He was very careful with his investments and didn't really look too much into the stock market because of the risks. Now, again, this is completely up to you, but investments are always risky, even if you put forth the due diligence to do some research. Me personally, I do heavily invest in the stock market, so that's where he and I definitely differ. Now, apart from that, he also saved 2% of his annual salary, something that his employer matched. Today, 2% ain't gonna cut it, guys. But clearly, he was on a retirement plan here and literally played the long game with his money. So here's something that he did that I don't think will happen in the present time, unless we wait around maybe 2 decades or something. So he was able to turn a profit on a home that he bought for $45,000, selling it for $350,000. Now, this is an amazing feat in and of itself, right? The housing market is nowhere near those kind of opportunities at this moment. He also reminded us that discounts are something that we should be taking advantage of, and that we should order the cheap stuff whenever we go out to eat. Now, I understand that these tips are not necessarily for everyone, but these are just some things that I gathered from this old dude. But one thing that I did take from this that I absolutely believe will help Americans across the nation is the practice of living within your means. If you overextend, then it is normal to see debt be a part of your monthly expenses, period, point blank. Now, again, I'm just taking the words of a guy who has $1 million in the bank. You are still free to do whatever you want with your money though, okay? But what are your thoughts on all this? Are you seeing the same optimism that the Federal Reserve and federal government is seeing with our economy? Before I go, I want to thank you guys for always hitting the like button. Thank you for sharing and subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys a bunch, and I'll see you on the next one.